Hi guys, Mittens here from the Kingdom of Polaris. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to make a basic neckline on a tabard. This video is part of a step-by-step tutorial for a reversible tabard with applique, so if you want to learn the complete process for that, make sure you keep an eye out for future videos. Alright, so first things first, you're going to need to get your fabric. For this tabard, I'm using two different colors, and the reason for this is that it adds a little extra weight to the tabard so it hangs better. It makes it reversible, and then it also makes the neckline that much easier to do. So I'm going to start by lining up the fabric and then folding it in half to get an idea of where the head will go. Okay, so now I've got my red and black fabric lined up just how I want it. It's cut to the length that I'm happy for my tabard, and now I'm just finding the middle of the tabard. I need to know where my head's going. And then I again fold in half to find the exact middle so I know that like the shoulders are going to be the same length too. I'm making a little cut just because I know that I'm going to end up cutting all that extra fabric off. It's okay. And I'm kind of just eyeballing it. I know that there are a lot of easier ways to do a neckline. You can lay the fabric out flat and then put like a bowl on the middle where you so long as the bowl is big enough to fit your head. So another thing you can do for the neckline if you don't want to use a bowl or if you don't want to draw out your own, there are lots of templates online that you could easily print off and use to trace around for a neckline. I like to use those quite a bit just because then I don't have to do any guessing, but if you have a very specific type of neckline or style that you have in mind, you may end up having to draw it out yourself. Or if you want like a more narrow neckline, you can always add a slit in the front. I really like adding slits because it prevents the shoulders from losing a lot of fabric. I don't like really wide necklines. That's a personal preference. You do what you want. So yeah. Okay, so at this point, as you can see, I've carefully trimmed around the whole neck hole to kind of clean everything up, all the little raggedy pieces. I've got a slit cut in it, and that helps me just, make sure my head fits. I'm going to be pinning around the whole thing, and then I will sew it. Alright, now that's all pinned, we can bring it over to the sewing machine and sew the two pieces together. Here, I just want to quickly show you, as you're sewing, you want to keep the edge of the fabric close to the edge of the sewing foot, and that just kind of keeps everything neat and even. And of course, make sure you remove your pins as you sew to prevent any needle breaking. Alright, so now that you've sewn all the way around your fabric, you're going to go back with a pair of scissors and you're just going to cut a little bit of the fabric all the way around the neck hole, making sure that you cut up to the stitching that you've done, but not into the stitching, so that when you turn it over, everything's going to lay really nice and flat. Alright, so now that everything's been cut, we can take one of the pieces of fabric and we're going to actually pull it through the neck hole all the way. And once you do that, everything will essentially be reversed. All the stitching and all the cutting that you had done is going to be on the inside, and the outside will just look like a really smooth, clean, finished neck hole. So what you see right now is it kind of looks like a teardrop shape, but because I put that slit in the middle, I actually need to go back and kind of poke the extra little pieces of fabric in, and that's just to give it that slit or like keyhole neckline. If you don't do that, it'll look a little goofy. So yeah, make sure you go back and really like pull those out as best you can so everything lays really flat and nice. And look at that! So we still have one more step to do, but we're almost to the end, guys, I promise. Alright, so last step for this neckline to make it look really good, and again, you don't have to do this, but if you want that clean finished look, I highly recommend it. I'm going to be stitching down all the way around the neckline one more time, just to make sure everything lays really flat and doesn't end up like shifting or puckering over time. I'm using a red thread on the top, and then I'm also using a black bobbin thread, and that's just so that as I'm sewing, you're not going to see any of the colors, any of the stitching very much. It'll kind of blend in. However, if you want, you can use this as an opportunity to sort of add a decorative edging all the way around your neckline. You could use a contrasting color. You could use a fancier stitch. It's up to you. So yeah. And there you go, a completely finished neckline, front and back, or back and front, because this is reversible, and you can do whatever you want. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and again, if you want to see the rest of this tutorial for the tabard, make sure you look ahead to see what other videos I'm putting out. Thanks!